We are back with another episode of the Bolt Brad Show, where we cover all the major news you need to know about heading into your work day, your work week, your weekend, all that fun stuff. And it is good to see all of you. I feel like it's been a while. Why has it been so long? It really hasn't. We took a day off. Felt like we needed to recharge the batteries a little bit and make sure that we're geared up to keep doing it. And I think that's what's important. Always recognizing when you need to step away for just a little bit, just a teensy bit, recharge the batteries. And what I mean by that is literally just sleeping. So many of you know I do quite a bit. And I have tried to learn over the years not to literally run myself into the ground. To the point where I'm getting sick and then I'm out even longer and all that stuff. Like older I've gotten, the more I've learned that you got to listen to your body, man. And you ain't going to bounce back like you used to, brother. You know what I mean? You're getting old. You're not your young, vibrant self anymore. But I appreciate everybody's understanding. Nothing was wrong. Just wanted to sleep in. You know, normally we wake up around 4:30 to do the show, and I could use just a few extra hours of sleep. God forbid you just let me sleep, you guys. You're like the wife. You just don't want to let me sleep and just be happy self anymore. Right. Okay. Well, let's get into a little bit of the news. The government shutdown is finally over. We are no longer with the hostage takeover, folks. It's done. It's done. So I'm actually going to go through my X page because I made notes to myself to cover certain things. So we're going to see a lot of video clips at the beginning here. And then, we'll jump into some, a little bit of commentary, a little bit of opinions, and go back to more videos and stuff like that. So here's Donald Trump talking about the healthcare. And Eric Doherty here says that Democrats are totally cornered on Obamacare when it comes to Donald Trump talking about it. And let's see what he has to say.
With the biggest increase of healthcare in any country, it's a disaster. And I'm calling today for insurance companies not to be paid, but for the money, this massive amount of money, to be paid directly to the people of our country so that they can buy their own healthcare, which will be far better and far less expensive than the disaster known as Obamacare. And I've had, I think, great support. I've even had Democrat support. So we want the money that would be going to the insurance company, which is hundreds of billions of dollars. You know, their stock prices have gone up by 1,000% in many cases, 1,000% over a short period of time, because our country stupidly pays them so much money with this Obamacare scandal. So I want the money to go directly to you, the people. And you go out and you'll buy your own health insurance and you'll negotiate different plans and you'll get much better insurance and you will be an entrepreneur for yourself. So I'm always willing to work with anyone, including the other party. We'll work on something having to do with health care. We can do a lot better. We can do great. So much money is involved. And we're willing to pay so much money to the people. So we're going to pay a lot of money to the people. They're going to go out and buy their own health care. And we're going to forget this Obamacare madness. So with all of that, I just want to tell you the country has never been in better shape.
And people will still complain. People will still complain. Oh, I have to pick my own insurance. I have to do that. It's like... I have come to learn that there's people that just complain for the sake of complaining. And I think that's all they know. Do you know what I mean? They're not familiar with just talking about something that's good and that's benefiting their life and how they're benefiting other people's lives. It's just they love to complain. And before, they didn't really have a finger to point towards. I mean, it was the Republican Party for the most part, or it was like capitalism or, you know, United States of America. Don't get me wrong. Those are definitely places where they would love to complain, or at least complain about. But when it comes to Donald Trump, it's a whole different ball game. And thinking about what's going to happen when Trump's out of office, I think they're still going to blame everything on Trump for years down the road. for years down the road, man. We'll be way past 2028. We'll be into like 2032, man. And they'll still be ripping Trump. Trump will be 6 feet in the ground at some point, right? Because he's an old guy. And they'll still be complaining about the man. Well, there is more government shutdown stuff here that I want to get to. And then obviously the Epstein stuff was really popping off yesterday. And it's kind of ironic how all that just kind of unravels when the shutdown, finally they vote for it and it ends. Here's the vote. But what you hear is Democrats screaming at each other. No. When you look at this, you see there's these guys standing over here, and then this person's kind of looking past him, and then, they're kind of looking. There's a couple people. Does this not totally remind you of, like, here's normal society, right? People just talking, probably making some deals, seeing how each other's families are doing. Oh, is this person healing up okay? Blah, blah, blah. Right? Just kind of, it's the knack of gab, nothing crazy. And then you have these crazies, these psychos, way in the back screaming, no! Kind of like that lady was screaming when Donald Trump was first elected and went viral. She's like screaming to the sky that Donald Trump won. Well, you hear no, and then unintelligible screaming, and that's the Democrats. I've never ever seen a video clip or heard of Republicans screaming like Democrats do. Shame! Shame! They are so annoying. They're like little kids, man. It's just bonkers, dude. So the government is open, thank God. And there was another clip here that I wanted to show you. Again, I'm going through these because I had a list of stuff. I was like, oh, I want to show them this. Oh, you guys like my children. I don't have children, but you're like my children. I was like, oh, I want to show them this. Oh, hold on. I gotta hold on to that because I want to show them that too. There's a CNN clip of Scott Jennings that I want to cover both of these back to back. All right, so it's these two with Anna Navarro. God, dude, she's allegedly, you guys, either she used to be a Republican or she's supposed to be like the conservative person on the panel for The View. I got questions.
Going to hear horrible stories. People are not going to be able to afford their insurance. I don't think even with subsidies they're going to be able to afford the premiums that are hiking up 100, 200, 300%.
Wasn't Obamacare supposed to fix that?
When people, not without the universal. I mean, there's
Affordable Care Act.
Yeah,
Affordable was the first word.
The Republicans have been chipping away at the ACA, and I think this is going to be the death of the ACA. But it's also going to be the death of some Americans who don't go get screenings, who don't get diagnosed early enough in order to get treatment, who go in and instead of being stage 1 cancer are going to be stage 4 cancer. And we're going to hear horrible stories because Americans are going to choose to drop health insurance that they cannot afford. And we as a country have got to figure this issue out. I'm going to hear.
Have they not just stated Affordable Care Act? Finally, this is the first clip I've seen somebody mention that, by the way. Maybe the second one. But we commented on this, 40-something days ago when the shutdown happened, when it was over giving health care to illegal aliens. And then they kind of shifted the goalpost, meaning the Democrats, saying, well, it's actually about our premiums are going up. Healthcare is just getting too expensive. And I'm kind of looking around because nobody was talking about this at the time. I mean, you guys know we were talking about it. We're all looking around here on the show going, well, what do you mean? It's called the Affordable Care Act. That was the selling point that, we're going to give you great health care that's affordable. And we're like, yeah, I don't think so, Barack, you idiot. God. And then, Republicans have been chipping away at it. What the hell does that mean? There's a lot of people that watch this show. Okay, I always say we get like 20 to 30,000 views a month at least. Like on the actual hour-long podcast, not just the other videos. What exactly have we been chipping away that would cause your premiums to go up? Anybody? I'm sure there might be something, but what would cause your premiums to go up with the Republicans chipping something away? And you got to love this whole thing. Well, I think it would still be expensive even if we weren't subsidizing it. Well, doesn't that also make the claim that the only way it would work is if we are subsidizing it? So this thing was never going to be cheap in the first place, which is what we were all saying back in 2008. Well, it wouldn't have been 2008, 2011-ish maybe. Silly, dude. Well, people are going to die. It's always people are going to die. You know, guess what? People die with healthcare. Did you know that? Yeah, I know. Shocker, Anna. People die all the time, even with healthcare, believe it or not. Yes. Unfortunately, we live in a country where health is not a priority to people on an individual basis. That's why we're obese. You know, your country is not serious. And I'm talking about our society. I'm not talking about the system. Doesn't take healthcare seriously when your own homeless people and people on EBT and SNAP are obese. If you look at the numbers, people that are on SNAP and EBT actually weigh more than people that are not on EBT and SNAP. Well, fresh food that's clean and organic is just more expensive, Brad. Not really. I eat clean and organic all the time. You want to know who also does and fits it within their budget, a very reasonable budget, is Anthony Brian Logan, the ABL podcast. Me and him are very similar guys, and he's black and I'm white. And it just goes to show race has nothing to do with anything. I'm merely pointing that out because Democrats love to point out race. Oh, well, you're just a white guy, so you have it easier. ABL's way better off than I am. Great guy to listen to, by the way. ABL, Anthony Brian Logan, phenomenal podcast. Make sure you head over there. I think he does Monday, Wednesday, Friday shows. Well, we have more stuff here where Scott Jennings was slapping around the Democrats. And, well, we'll kind of play this out. It's a little bit of a longer clip, minute, but here we go.
I know a lot of Republicans. I know a lot of Democrats. They're cut from different cloths. Democrats simply don't have the cold-heartedness necessary to see people suffering. And
I almost spit out my coffee. If you're on audio, you missed it. I need to replay that.
Democrats simply don't have the cold-heartedness necessary to see people suffering and to see people suffering and just say, let them eat cake.
Yeah, but they
Huddle up. It's been a while. Everybody stop what you're doing. Stop what you're doing. Get in. I'm going to be quick with this. Okay, we're calling the play. Dumb shits left, 42 upright. Barack Obama. We're going to split to Joe Biden. We're going to come back, revert the play, and then we're going in for the touchdown break. Folks, are you kidding me? The party of slavery? Hello? Hold on.
Cold-heartedness.
Party of slavery, party of Jim Crow, party of segregation. What?
Necessary to see people suffering.
Whipping black people, party of the KKK. Do I need to keep going here? Party of government shutdown. Party of making healthcare not affordable. Party of the one drop law. Hello. I mean, party of abortion, literally killing babies. Like, I don't need to go any further with this, do I? Should we keep doing an hour-long podcast of just the suffering that the Democrat Party has legitimately caused people? I'm not saying Republicans haven't, but there's a long history of the Democrat Party causing this. What a wild statement. What a wild, wild statement.
Democrats simply don't have the cold-heartedness necessary to see people suffering and just say, let them eat cake.
Yeah, but
they are not the types that
They voted repeatedly to do it. I mean, you just heard Democrats
And what
on
was
our
Donald
air.
Trump doing in the meantime?
He doesn't have a vote in the legislature.
No,
Hey,
he's the president of the United States, the most powerful president with Republicans in my lifetime, Scott. He never once even told them, come back to Washington.
We just played
Democrat. You guys have been out of Washington for a month and a half.
Correct.
A month and a half.
We just played Democrat after Democrat admit that the Democratic plan to prolong the shutdown was causing, quote, suffering. That was their words, not mine. Democrats themselves realized the tactic of suffering was no longer something they could personally stomach. That was their party, not Republicans.
Only 7 Democrats voted for this.
8.
Not Democrat after Democrat. No.
He caucuses with the
There were
Democrats.
7.
He
And
made
then
caucus.
Don't split
He's
hairs.
an
He
independent.
caucuses with the
And you're
Democrats.
absolutely right. You're
I
right.
know.
You know Scott's balling right now. Bro has a pinstripe suit on, dude. I freaking love Scott, man. What a legend. Dude, do you guys think Scott would ever come on our... I've always wondered, because we're our smaller show. I'm not complaining. Please understand, that's not the point. The point I'm trying to make is, we make a pretty big splash with the show that we have. Like, honestly. It's pretty fun. It's pretty crazy how we appear on other people's big shows, and we are an extremely, extremely under the radar podcast. Do you think Scott would come on? Do you guys think Scott would show us some love? Do you think Scott would treat us well? Oh, Scotty boy. Well, again, the government shutdown's over, and I guess Democrats are just cut from a different cloth, according to Anna Navarro, and they don't cause any suffering. Shit, dude. Damn it. I should have saved that clip for later. I didn't know it would be that good. I didn't watch it. I just saw Anna Navarro, and I knew it would be good. That's the thing, is when you see certain people, it's almost as if every clip you see that they are in, they say something stupid, and you just have to. You just have to watch it because you're going to get a good laugh. Wow. Wow, wow, wee, wow. All righty. Well, we got more stuff coming for you, folks. If you haven't already, hit that like button. It really does help support the show. It causes the algorithm to send our videos out there to basically an audience that hasn't seen our content or our footage. And so you're helping me basically advertise for free just by hitting that like button, and it will push our stuff out there. And that's always, always much appreciated. Well, we have Caroline Leavitt here during the White House press briefing, kind of laying out the Democrats' shutdown, and we will call it that. Some people are calling it the Schumer shutdown. And she had quite a bit to say here. Let me make sure I get this queued up properly for all of you. There we go. And there we go. So Caroline heads to the podium over there in the White House press briefing room, which we haven't covered one in a while. Maybe we should cover that. That used to be our bread and butter. She just doesn't go after them the way that I thought she would. But the truth finally came out. And the truth is the corporate media have been lying for weeks, and she finally calls them out. So Democrats caused the shutdown period, and we all know that. Plain and simple. And even Democrats know that. So White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt laid it all out the other day in crystal clear language, which was nice. She said, quote, the Democrats dragged on the government shutdown for 43 days. The damage caused by the reckless government shutdown cannot be forgotten. 43 days, the longest shutdown in American history. And every single day of it could have been avoided if Democrats had simply voted for the clean resolution, the continuing resolution Republicans offered from day one. It really is mind-blowing what they pulled here, because they didn't get anything out of this. I mean, they could have, like I said, done it on day one. For some reason, they didn't. You want to know why they didn't? Because they love people suffering, you guys. They love the violence. They love the homelessness. Any which way you look at Democrats and the way that they rule, just look at their cities. People always go, well, let's look at the states, right? Like that one guy the other day. Oh, well, why is it the 7 most poorest states are conservative? Because we don't look at the state level. Yeah, we don't do that. We don't do that in statistics. When you're by the way, we don't even do it in auditing. Jeffson here, Jeffson accountant. Would you ever? I'm trying to think of. Would you ever correlate two accounts to one another that have nothing to do with it in terms of trying to see what changed and which one caused the other one, but they have nothing to do? They actually have zero interaction with each other. No, yeah, you don't do that. Yeah, you don't. You try to do similarities to the best of your ability, because that's the best way that you can compare. I mean, the obvious one for people who don't know statistics is we always compare identical twins with one another. We try to study them because you're removing a lot of variables that would alter the outcome of whatever you're studying. But because some people are too stupid to realize that, meaning a lot of these lefties that come into the chat, you have to teach them statistics 101 because they're too lazy to either look this stuff up themselves or just watch a simple Khan Academy video for free. And you will see that time and time again with the progressive left. They are not capable. You guys, I have it right. I can't lift it up, but they're not capable of using a keyboard. They're capable of using a keyboard and ask you questions, but they can't go and ask Grok those same questions and find those answers for themselves in the matter of 30 seconds. And they don't want to do that because then they have to face the harsh reality that they're going to be wrong. Sure, you can look at the state level, but you don't do that. When you go into the city level, guess what? The majority of the cities are Democrat. Of course, you're going to find a Republican city here or there that's definitely poor because they're a bunch of idiots as well. I'm not saying Republicans aren't idiots, but at least I'm able to admit it. For some reason, the Democrat Party is so religious. They're so hell-bent on their own party. They can't call out the stupid idiots that are part of their party. It just so happens there's more idiots in that party than there is Republican ones. But there's a lot of idiots in the Republican Party, don't get me wrong. Just more so in the Democrat Party. And that's why they've driven Los Angeles into the ground, the state into the ground, Oakland, California into the ground, San Francisco into the ground, Santa Ana, California into the ground. I mean, if you look at every Democrat city, it's almost ran into the ground. There's really not a nice one. Chicago's ran into the ground. New York's been ran into the ground. Even after Republican Rudy Giuliani cleaned it up, Democrats took it back, ran into the ground. Well, we have here the bill had no policy changes that was pushed forth that Trump just signed that you saw. No spending gimmicks. It just kept the government funded. That's all it was. But Democrats said no, because they wanted billions more for their projects. Including, let's be honest here, healthcare subsidies for illegal immigrants. It's in there. We showed you the receipts. And I don't know why when you show people the actual, the code for it, and then what the actual project is, and then the amount of money that's going to it, why they're still not able to accept it. It's the oddest thing to me. Not to mention, you can actually show footage, and we have here, to these leftists, of Democrats saying that, yes, healthcare is going to illegal immigrants. Folks, the other day, we literally showed footage of an illegal immigrant saying that she was getting health care. She was getting Medicare and Medicare. She said it on camera. So what happened? Well, millions of Americans paid the price. That's what happened. And Levitt ran through the numbers, and it was devastating for Democrats. Hundreds of thousands of federal employees missed paychecks. Tens of billions in wages were withheld. Millions of low-income families went without SNAP benefits. Nearly 20,000 flights delayed because of staffing shortages. Over 5 million travelers impacted by flight disruptions. All of that, not because of fiscal conservatism, by the way, not because of some sort of budget reform, but because Democrats wanted leverage. They wanted pain, man. That's what they wanted. But remember, according to Anna Navarro, they don't cause suffering. They're cut from a different cloth. No, they wanted pain. They wanted chaos, and they wanted suffering is what they wanted. And guess what? They got it. The Democrats got it. Even the Federal Reserve says the shutdown dragged down the economy. The CBO says it could have shaved 2%. Listen to this. Could have shaved 2% of GDP growth in this quarter alone. That is wild. The estimate, 7 to 14 billion in losses that will never come back. And that's real money, by the way. It's cold, hard cash, baby. That's small businesses, which is most of America is made up of. That's working families. And yet Democrats go on television pretending that they're the party of affordability. They're cut from a different cloth, is what we're told. To give me a break, dude. As Levitt said, and she said it right here, she says, quote, the notion that the Democrats, the same Democrats who shut down the government, sabotaged our economy, robbed people of their paychecks, and helped Joe Biden ratchet inflation to 9%, are now suddenly affordability champions is completely absurd. And absurd is an understatement, Caroline. It really is. While Democrats were playing shutdown politics, President Trump was out there actually making life affordable again. And here's the thing. When I say that, the left lose their mind, folks, on Trump making things affordable again. And I'm telling you, please understand this. They are too lazy to use a keyboard to see and ask chat. The easiest we've ever seen in our life, by the way, with AI. Like there's no greater time to get your answers quicker than ever before. We used to brag, right? Hey, you could go on the internet. You could just type in a Google search and you'll be able to find your answer. It might take some time, but you can find it. Not any longer. This thing will give it to you in less than 10 seconds. You could find the answer to what I just said. And what did I just say for those that are still sleepy? I said Donald Trump is out there actually making life affordable again. And because they're incapable of doing this, because they're idiots, I'll give them the answer. No tax on tips. How about making life affordable for those people? How about no tax on overtime? How about no tax on Social Security? Trying to do that. And the largest middle class tax cut in history, Democrats. But they're incapable of actually using their keyboard. They're keyboard warriors of talking crap. But in terms of coming to answers and conclusions for themselves, that's not capable. Don't get me wrong, again, there's Republicans that are the same way. There's just more of these lefty Democrats out there. Now, you compare that to Joe Biden because, again, that's what we do here. We compare presidents with each other. Okay? 5% average inflation under Joe Biden's tenure. $7 to $10 gas prices in California. And you want to know how I know that one? Because I live here. I saw it with my own eyes. You want to tell me it's not real? And the highest grocery prices in 4 decades we got with Joey. Now, this is how you compare. I got to teach the Democrats, folks. So take a back seat real quick. Trump's current average is 2.5% inflation. Gee. That's the difference between leadership and lunacy, by the way. And we aren't paying $7 gas here in California. Not $10. It's the cheapest gas has been in like 4 or 5 years. Okay? Energy independence has been restored, pumping a lot of oil. Small business confidence is climbing. Record stock prices, yes. Why? Because Trump cut 30 regulations for every new one. He unleashed American energy. And he's hammering big pharma to lower drug prices for seniors and working families. But don't worry, Joey got inhalers down quicker. Yeah, Joey got cheaper inhaler prices, you guys. Yeah, you're supposed to be kissing his gross feet because of that. So let's call it what it is. Again, the so-called Democrat shutdown wasn't just a political stunt. It was an act of economic vandalism. And what you saw, a deliberate, calculated move to hurt the country. Hurt them, Anna Navarro. They're not the party of suffering. They're just cut from a different cloth, she said. Yeah, you idiot. I've said it millions of times here over the course of 5 years doing this show. We live in the greatest country on earth where you could be Anna Navarro, a complete doofus, and say things like that on the internet, the television, the tubes, and make millions of dollars. It just shows you can really make it in this country. You can do anything you want. If Anna Navarro could do it, so can you. That should be an infomercial. That should be an ad right there. I mean, talk about an inspirational book. It just needs to be 1 page. And you don't even have to flip anything to the next page. You just have it on the cover. If Anna Navarro could do it, so can you. That is the title of my next book. It's going to be a blank book. You could do it as well. And it really is really ironic that when you flip the page, there's nothing there because idiots can't write. Neither can Anna Navarro. Well, again, their shutdown didn't work. Trump stayed focused, baby. He stayed in the lane. He stayed in the pocket. And the GOP held firm. And when the government reopens fully, Democrats will owe every bit of that 43-day disaster. But the facts are clear, man. The shutdown ended with Republicans stood their ground. And you got to give them where credit's due, man. They did good. They did really, really good. Okay, well, we have these updates on the Epstein files. I want to make sure I get to that. Again, folks, if you're hitting that like and subscribe button, make sure that if you're, Jesus, it's morning. I need more coffee here. We're trying to wake up here still, folks. That's a tough, I will say, and I've done both morning and evening shows. Morning is easily the hardest one. Morning shows are so much harder, like early morning, because you're trying to wake up. I don't care how many hours you've been up. You need to be up like 4 or 5 hours, and you need to see daylight. The rays help. Okay, well, the Epstein files are back. Hit that like and subscribe button, folks, for me if you can. We're trying to grow the show, and we need your help to do that. We're fighting against YouTube. YouTube has definitely 100% flagged our channel. Oh, boy. I think they flagged it as like not safe content, basically, because we call out the obvious. They don't like us. They don't like us because we call them out. Okay, let's get into the Epstein stuff here. We got some video clips as well, but Mike Johnson came out. He's coming out of the woodworks. So you want to grab your coffee for this one because it is pretty big. We'll see. We will see if it happens, but Mike Johnson just confirmed. Yes, this is like breaking, by the way. Confirm that the House will fast track a full vote to release every single Epstein file next week. Yes, those Epstein files, the ones that elites, bureaucrats, media figures, foreign intelligence agencies, and half of Hollywood have spent years pretending don't exist. And this didn't happen because leadership wanted it. It happened because a discharge petition, one of the rarest procedural weapons in Congress, by the way, hit 218 signatures. That means enough members forced Johnson to basically hand him over. They forced his hand. And here's where it gets a little bit wild. The moment it hit 218, Johnson tried to move it immediately by unanimous consent. And what happened? Dude, this is crazy. I'm going to pause it there for a moment. Okay? Because I want you guys to have that all in like your backhand, okay? I don't know what the hell that even means. I just said it, okay? They got 218 votes. I want to go to the chat really quick. Who has been saying that Donald Trump is trying to make this whole thing a cover-up, that he's in the Epstein files, which he is. We know his name's there. He's in the Epstein files. He's a pedo. All these things. Republicans are trying to hide it. Which party is the party that says, release the Epstein files? Get it out there. What do you have to hide, Donald? What party has been saying release the Epstein files since Donald Trump took office almost 11 months ago, 10 months ago? Now, don't get me wrong. Republicans have been asking for this too. I've been one of them. But there's a party that's been very vocal about this. And this goes into everything. There's a reason why I paused. Because it's going to be it's not really going to blow your mind anymore because we know the Democrats. You guys are getting it. You're getting it. The moment it hit 218 votes, Johnson tried to move it immediately by unanimous consent. And what happened? Democrats objected, dude. They objected. They blocked the immediate release. What? A staggering level of hypocrisy, Johnson said. Dude, it really is a mind-blowing thing. And please understand, the media aren't going to cover it the same way that we are. A lot of people don't know this. For those that are in the politics and love watching this stuff and reading the headlines and everything, yeah, you will get it. Dude, Democrats blocked it. It is a insane level of hypocrisy. These are the same Democrats who spend every freaking moment, man, lecturing America about transparency, democracy, and protecting victims. But the second you try to expose a global sex trafficking network tied to billionaires, politicians, and foreign agents, suddenly they get camera shy. Shocking. It's like, you try to wrap your head around it. So there's only one group of people who benefit from suppressing the Epstein files, and it's the powerful. Those people, not the victims, not the American public, not law enforcement, only elites who knew Epstein himself, traveled to Epstein's island, partied with Epstein, or funded Epstein. Now, the key details that you're going to need to know, because the media they're going to bury this part. They're not going to talk about it. 4 Republicans, this is really weird. 4 Republicans joined all Democrats to trigger the discharge petition. Those Republicans were Thomas Massie, who sponsored the bill, Lauren Boebert, Nancy Mace, and Marjorie Taylor Greene. In other words, this wasn't purely partisan. This was populist versus establishment, the anti-corruption wing versus the protect the powerful wing. And Speaker Johnson, to his credit, man, give credit where credit is due, is now putting the full vote on the House floor next week. And let me remind everybody why this freaking matters. Jeffrey Epstein was not a lone wolf, man. He was a networked intelligence asset with deep connections to politicians, royal families like we saw over there in the UK, media executives, Silicon Valley billionaires, foreign intelligence services. People are saying this guy was linked with the CIA and Mossad. And yes, plenty of U.S. government officials. So while Epstein died in federal custody, now how that happened, we don't know, but you can. Well, I think we might know, you know what I mean? The cameras weren't working. Sure, they weren't. Under the most suspicious circumstances imaginable, by the way. He just died by hanging. You know, they gave him like 40 jumpsuits to, you know, he was cold. American people didn't get answers. They got excuses. That's what we got. Cameras were faulty. All the guards were sleeping. Just a coincidence. Yeah, all the cameras aren't out. Everybody was in bed when they weren't supposed to be. All this other stuff. Sure. Just one thing after another. And for decades, elites ran a system of sexual exploitation, blackmail, and influence peddling. And for decades, the institutions protected them. Not the victims. The institutions did. So this vote is the first real crack in that wall in a very long time. And the question is simple. Who doesn't want these files released and why? If there's nothing to hide, which is what I keep hearing from all these politicians and elites, then release everything. If everyone involved was innocent, release everything. If this was just conspiracy theories, we're just a bunch of tinfoil hat idiots, well, then release everything. What do you got to hide? So why the panic, you guys? If there's nothing there, it's a big nothing burger. And by the way, if Donald Trump was in this so much, as Democrats keep saying, why not release everything? I'm okay with that. I'm not beholden to Donald Trump. I'm an average Joe American. As I say, I call other people idiots. I'm an idiot myself. I have no qualms with Donald Trump being in it. Show me all his pedo activity, and I'll say, hey, I shouldn't have voted for the guy. I got no qualms with that because I have morality. Doesn't mean I'm not a sinful man. I make a lot of mistakes in life, and I hope nobody judges me for them. The Lord, leave that up to God. He'll judge the crap out of me, and I'm worried about that. I think everybody's worried about being judged by the Lord. Make a lot of mistakes in life. We aren't perfect. But if Donald Trump's a pedo and they know it so much so, why not release it? And it's weird how Donald Trump's always the top of the conversation when we know by victims that Bill Clinton himself was involved in all this, but no Democrats want to talk about that. It's all about Donald Trump, Orange Cheeto Man. So why the objection? Patriots, why the scrambling of all this? Why freaking out? Well, we already know the answer, don't we? And next week, we're about to watch one of the biggest transparency fights in modern American history. Because once these files drop, if they fully drop, let's be fair, a lot of powerful people are going to have a very bad year. And frankly, good. Because people are going to go berserk like the UFO documents getting released, the JFK stuff. I think it's bigger than all of that. I think people are going to start scrounging using AI to do research and try to figure out what the hell's going on here. And so we got a bunch of video clips for you on this stuff. Here we go. Well, I'm going to come back to Tim Burchett because he has another video up here that I want to get to. He's a couple. Where's the other one? Here we go.
Hey everybody, Tim Burchett in Washington, D.C. today, of course, trying to open up the government, but I tried to make them release the Epstein files, and I was blocked by the Democrats. This is all gamesmanship, folks. It's not about releasing the files. If they had something on Trump, they would have released it. Biden had it for 4 years, and they hate Trump more than anything in the world. And so now they blocked it, and so they can piecemeal the truth and the half-truths, both sides of what really went down with Epstein. And it's kind of disgusting, really. But, well, I tried. That's all I can tell you.
You could tell, I mean, this just in that voice, we've all been there. Like, you could tell the guy feels defeated. Like, yeah, they didn't give a crap. Typical. And that's why you had Jason Chaffetz and Trey Gowdy, one of the reasons why they left Congress. I mean, those guys were two really beneficial assets to getting a lot of conservative agendas done, and they left. And I don't blame them because this is kind of how they got to. It was like, yeah, another thing. They don't give a crap. This whole thing's corrupt. I mean, the other person that would talk a lot about this, and that works very closely with Tim Burchett, is Anna Paulina Luna. I mean, she still has a little fire under her, but she's already said, I'm not going to stay in Congress for a long time. I'm just kind of here to do a few things, try to see if I can make a dent or any sort of damage, and then I'm out. So she's not sticking around forever. And they both have called that out. Like, yeah, these people don't care. They're a bunch of corrupt. The average age, you guys, in Congress is like 60 years old. Now, no offense to the boomer generation, but you guys need to give up the power, dude. And I'm not saying my generation is the answer, but when you've had Congress, the same people in Congress since the 80s, dude, before I've been alive, it's the same people. You guys ran this shit into the ground. It's the same people in Congress that have been in there since the 80s. That's why the average age went from 40 to 50 to 60 to 70, 80 years, 60 years old now. It's going to be 70 years old at some point because people just want to be power hungry, little you-know-whats. Leave it alone. So we have Tim Burchett here again. Let me go back to it.
Hey everybody, Tim Burchett. Just left the House floor, and I tried to do a UC, unanimous consent of tried to get the Epstein files, get it straight to the floor, just to cut out all this nonsense. And, and the Democrats blocked it, oddly enough. Now here they've had it for 4 years, and they...
Crazy.
Obviously, if there's something there about Trump, they would have released it.
Yep.
And now they're all, let's get it out, let's get it out. Well, I just made a motion to bring it straight to the dadgum floor, and they blocked it. So this is politics. It has nothing to do with what's doing what's right.
Of course.
And it's Washington, D.C. to a T. And again, they ought to be ashamed of themselves, but they're probably not.
Nope.
Thank y'all for sending me here.
The true one, dude. It's a true one. Crazy. Crazy. We have another one here by Tim Burchett. Let's see if I can find it. Was it the one down at the bottom? When he's taking media questions. Where are you at? There you are.
You released Epstein files?
Yeah, that's why I just put a bill up. I just tried to move it ahead because what you're seeing right now is what exactly is going to happen, going to continue happening. Everybody's going to pull little piecemeal portions. Sorry about that. I got to animate. I'm Southern Baptist. They're going to pull portions of it out, and they're going to try to fit their own little narrative. Both sides are going to do it. You all know it, and you're all going to feed upon it. Let's just get the dadgum bill out. Let's vote it out, and the Democrats oppose me on it. And it's stupid. It's all about politics. It's not about taking care of young ladies who got abused, and we should take care of them. But there's a process in place. The Democrats have had it for 4 years and didn't do a dadgum thing. And you know if Trump was in that thing, Biden, the rest, and Kamala Harris, I mean, he's the Antichrist to them. They would have already had it out. What do you got?
I was going to ask about health. This upcoming bill.
What do you got? I love Tim. I also like him too because he's trying to get the UFO stuff out there. And by the way, it's the same crap that's being pulled. It's the same exact crap. So they released this email the other day, and Democrats did. But it's like, oh, you want this email to be released, but you don't want to release the files. You just want to release these emails. So Jeffrey Epstein alleged Donald Trump spent hours with a sex trafficking victim in new email from 2011 released by House Democrats. Just conveniently released it now, by the way, trying to change the narrative. Quote, I want you to realize that dog hasn't barked as Trump. Victim spent hours at my house with him. He has never once been mentioned. Now, I believe what people were saying is that victim has already come out and said that Donald Trump never did anything. That was from my understanding of what I've kind of parsed through when reading this stuff. Democrats caught redacting Virginia, that's her name, in the Epstein email release. Unredacted docs reveal it was her, someone who repeatedly testified Trump did nothing wrong and never saw him at Epstein's. Biden had 4 years to act. Crickets. Now Dems push a smear campaign. And it's a smart campaign because I'll mention this again. These people can't do their own research. They just read or listen to CNN or a headline. And as you saw with ABC, when it had to do with that illegal immigrant that fled from police in a hot pursuit after a traffic stop and then went into a daycare to hide and evade police, and police went into the daycare, the smear campaign came out by ABC. And as I showed you the proof, you had to literally get those facts at the bottom of the article, not at the top. You had to scroll a few times to get to that information. Whereas if you just read the top, oh, they victimized, they're going after teachers and all this other crap. They're a bunch of liars. And that's why you have to really parse through this stuff, because the media generation of propaganda is always mind-blowing. And to be fair, you guys, a lot of people, I talked about this in my book, Trojan Horse, How the Left is Destroying America. The media have always been this way. Maybe not to this extent, but it seems like it's bigger than it has always been. That's because of the access that we have to information, but they've always peddled this stuff. You can go back to the founding. They did the exact same thing. The Sons of Liberty actually pushed a lot of propaganda way back when. It's been going on forever since we were able to print and, quite frankly, even speak. So it's just more prevalent because we have access to the internet, and now we can actually catch it in real time and actually push back on the hypocrisy of it all. But like I said, it's been going on forever. It really is nothing new. It just seems a lot more. Here is News Nation talking about the Epstein stuff here.
C&A is a bunch of innuendo. It's hearsay. There isn't any direct backup for any allegation, because there aren't any allegations other than Trump may have been in a house where there are some girls. Right. Okay. So you have the lady in question, and I feel very bad for Miss Giuffre's family. He committed suicide. What a horrible thing. The whole thing is just awful. And that's right on Epstein. You have her saying under oath, Trump didn't do anything, and you have Maxwell. But here's the most important person you have, not under oath. Dershowitz. Dershowitz was Epstein's lawyer, and lawyer-client confidentiality ends with death. Dershowitz went on television today, said, I have all of the Epstein stuff, and there isn't anything. And I asked Epstein directly, while I was representing him, whether Donald Trump was involved in any kind of untoward activity. And Epstein said no. So now you have the three principal players in this case.
It's still not enough for Democrats.
All saying the same thing. Yet the press is so irresponsible, so corrupt, so hateful, they will not even mention that. It's death by innuendo. That is what they are aiming for.
So we'll see. Chris says, at this point, I'm sick of hearing about the Epstein and the stupid file. It ain't going anywhere, brother. It ain't going anywhere. At least not on my show as well. It ain't going nowhere.
Republicans who, because I think they believe that the time spent on this and that the Republicans who've bought into the Democratic tactics on this are ultimately hurting the president's agenda and hurting the overall Republican effort to change this country for the better. The president firmly believes this is nothing but a distraction tactic ginned up by Democrats who didn't care about this one bit until a couple of months ago. They didn't care about it when Joe Biden was the president. Now they care about it to try to tie up this presidency. He's lived through these things before. He's lived through these kinds of, wild goose chases before. It's all designed to tie him up. He recognizes it. He doesn't want his own party members to fall for it, but I think a few probably will.
I think some people might dispute the wild goose chase part, just given obviously the victims that are at the heart of this and the survivors.
No, regarding him, the Democratic allegation, it's thinly veiled, but the Democratic allegation is that Donald Trump did something untoward, unethical, or worse.
Yep.
You hear people say it on television day in and day out. They've not tried to hide the misleading of the American people, and there's not a shred of evidence that Donald Trump has done anything wrong. But that's what they want you to believe. And so if Republicans aid and abet the Democrats in this, you can see why Donald Trump would be mad about it.
I mean, Scott's spitting facts. He's spitting the truth. And that's why we always listen to Scott. And that's why you always want to go to our platform here over at Rumble, because Rumble is the platform to be for free speech. And Rumble is also gearing up with Perplexity. So looking for smarter ways to browse and enjoy favorite content without ads? Get the Perplexity Pro bundle for just $19.99 a month when you sign up before December 31st, normally a $29.99 value. With Rumble Premium, you'll get an ad-free viewing experience across all your devices and access to exclusive premium content. No interruptions, just the videos and streams you love anytime, anywhere. Plus, Perplexity Pro boosts your productivity with unlimited research, unlimited uploads, exclusive member perks, and access to the latest and most advanced AI models for faster, smarter answers every day. Save over 30% on this powerful bundle. Head to rumble.com/premium before December 31st to sign up and unlock your premium experience. Again, save 30% or more by heading over to rumble.com/premium before the 31st of December and sign up and unlock your premium experience. Shout out to Rumble for always making the show possible for us. And Rumble is growing, you guys. They just signed a huge deal not too long ago with Tether. They got a $100 million plus ad platform that's coming next year. This platform is really, really growing. So always appreciate you guys joining Rumble Premium, just as I have. And that's a very, very huge thing. Let's do one more quick article here. And we have this one. So a Biden appointed judge, you notice it's never like a Trump appointed judge or like a Reagan appointed judge, really. It's always like a Obama or Biden appointed judge. Has anybody else kind of realized that? Orders feds to release 600 illegal immigrants nabbed in Chicago raids. So a Biden appointed judge just ordered the Trump administration to release, it's actually 615 illegal immigrants who were caught in Chicago during ICE raids. So this judge, his name's Jeffrey Cummings, has ruled that these detainees must be given bond and potentially released back into the community by November 21st. And DHS absolutely unloaded on them. So the Department of Homeland Security came out after this and said, an activist judge is putting the lives of Americans directly at risk. I don't think so, you guys, because I was told by Anna Navarro that Democrats and their appointed judges are cut from a different cloth. They're not there to cause harm or to hurt anybody. They're just different, is what we were told. Well, the DHS was right. These weren't tourists, by the way. These were people. These weren't people checking into like a front desk of America. Many of these individuals, ICE arrested, many of them have criminal histories, multiple illegal entries, by the way. They have DUIs, assaults, and at least one case amongst these 615 arrested was child endangerment, which seems to be a common theme with these illegals that are apprehended. These are exactly the people ICE should be removing. But the kicker is immigration activists claim ICE violated an old Illinois consent decree because they conducted warrantless arrests, even though warrantless arrests are literally standard procedure for federal immigration enforcement. I mean, I don't get why people think ICE isn't following the law. That's how ICE operates. They've always operated that way. And one of the people this judge might release is a Colombian illegal immigrant who fled a traffic stop, ran into a daycare to hide from the agents. Y'all remember this story? We just talked about it. Lied about her identity and then smuggled her kids into the U.S. a month ago. And a Democrat congressman tried to claim ICE snatched a preschool teacher in front of children, which was a total lie, and we debunked it. And DHS publicly corrected him and said that she ran into the daycare on her own. So activist judges, sanctuary city politicians, and open border extremists are doing everything they can to disable federal law enforcement and sabotage ICE and put these individuals right back into American communities. And these same idiots are blown away when these people commit another crime in their city and then they complain, why is law enforcement not doing anything? The same Democrats, because they're idiots. Folks, they do it even on a tax level. They vote for higher taxes and then they complain every year to me when I was a tax accountant why they have to pay high taxes. There's no thought. It really is a crazy, crazy thing. And you can't dwell on it too much or else you'll go insane. Like it will actually mess with your emotions. You'll start becoming more argumentative. You'll start being more negative to your friends and family if you feed into all this political nonsense, whether it's on TikTok or whether it's on the Daily Wire or you're listening to these podcasts. If you listen and read too much of this stuff, it's going to make you a negative person. That's why there's days where I'm like, hey, I'm just going to take the day off. Like these 2 days, I have not read any politics whatsoever. you need to just pull back. And that's not the reason why I took off, but it's always a plus. So as I mentioned, the second that I turn this off at 7 o'clock, I do not really read the news for like the next 10 hours or so. I don't read the news until I do show prep late at night. And when I do show prep, I don't read the articles myself because it's going to only piss me off sometimes. You need to not spend so much time in politics and spend more time touching grass in the real world, patriots. That's what we need to do, because you'll drive yourself nuts. And I've seen it. There's people that used to follow our show way back when that have emailed me personally and said, hey, I'm not going to watch anymore. We always support you, but it's like ruining my marriage. That was the one guy. I forgot his name. I have to look back. And they were great. Gabby and his wife were great. Well, Gabby's his wife, but we're great. But they stopped watching. I said, hey, I totally get that. It's a very dark world in politics. And if you spend too much time in it, that will also consume you as well. So, shout out to Gabby. I should email them. It's been a lot of years, but they used to watch the show all the time. They took a step back, and that's been a few other people individually as well that said, hey, I think the show's, not this show specifically, but just the topic's too dark. And, we've actually done a test podcast with a big influencer, and they're out of politics too altogether. That was a conversation on the side. I've never actually spoken about this. That was a conversation on the side where they said the politics is very dark. And this was a person that I was working with or doing a lot of Turning Point USA stuff. And they don't do politics anymore. And we did a test podcast because we were thinking about maybe doing like a podcast together. And it was a girl. So that has been it has been a theme. So I just, whoever may or may not be, I don't know. If you're too far into politics, I'd say take a step back, even like a week, and you're going to feel better. You're going to feel more refreshed. Or if you don't feel like you need it, well, continue to hang out. But I think it is important to look at other stuff going on in the world. And if you guys want to see me talk about stuff that aren't politics, we used to do that all the time. We used to talk about culture, movies as well. We could do that, which might be taking place next year. We will see. I am still deciding what we're going to do with the podcast next year, but we'll figure it out. I'm very wish-washy on it right now. Right up there with Unsolved Murder Podcast. Yeah, that can mess you up. Remember the show Unsolved Mysteries? Man, I used to walk home from my friend's house after that late at night, and I remember there's one episode about goblins. I was hearing shit in bushes. I was like, what is that? Not kidding. That's a hand to God true story. There was an Unsolved Mysteries. We all used to watch that show. Like that guy with the deep voice, if you see this person, call this number on the screen, right? But they would also do supernatural stuff, people abducted by aliens and stuff. That's probably why I'm into conspiracy theories a little bit. I don't believe in them, but I enjoy them. And there was a show about goblins, dude, and I would walk down the street because I was watching at my buddy Ryan's house. And dude, I've never been so alert. I felt like I was tapping into dimensions. I was seeing like UV light that you're not supposed to see with your own eyes. I was looking around, like I was hearing stuff in bushes, and dude, it was the longest walk home I've ever done in my life. Whew. Then you never know, man. Matter of fact, I was having this conversation with my wife literally this week, and I said, how many serial killers do you think you've met in your life? Or people that have like murdered somebody, you know what I mean? Yeah, it's had to have been a few, especially in California, because we have a lot of people here. We have like 40 million people live in the state. I know I've ran into a serial killer. I know I have. There has to have been. Ain't no way. Or at least somebody that's deleted a people or two, Just all the people you've encountered, you're telling me you've never met a serial killer? You probably have, dude. The guy comes up and grabs your hair, starts sniffing it like Joe. Serial killer. Serial killer. By the way, when I first met my wife, when we were just friends, there was a guy that did that at Panda Express, grabbed her hair. He said, can I touch your hair? Hand to God, true story. I was like, what the hell's... I was like, I was just friends with her. I was like looking around. I was like, what the fuck's going on? We're at Panda Express when we lived in DC. I was like, what is... Oh, sorry, it wasn't Panda Express. It was Panera Bread. I think it was Panera Bread, a coffee shop. Yeah, this guy walks up. He's like, I want to touch your hair. I'm like, what the fuck, man? That was my first encounter to guys are into weird stuff. This is a Dark MAGA conversation. We will have Dark MAGA tonight at 4 p.m. But dude, that's when I'm vanilla, man. I am a normal average Joe guy to some extent. But that's when I first found out. I was like, dude, there's guys into like touching hair or like smelling people and into feet stuff. Look, I'm not judging. I want to be real here. I ain't judging you. But people are into some freaky, weird stuff, man. And that was this wasn't that long ago. This is like 11 years ago. It was like a decade ago. I guess it's a long time now. Mind you, I'm out of college. I've been a professional in accounting for a while. I had no idea people were into some freaky, deaky stuff, dude. That messed me up. I was like, what the fuck's going on, dude? Guys trying to touch this girl's hair. What the fuck's going on? Yeesh. Yeesh. All right. Well, I'm pretty sure we'll be back here today from Dark Maga because we got to get our hours in, and we missed an hour this week. Frankly, because I came home and slept. If I'm not doing the show, I've always told you, it's either I'm sick or I need to not run myself into the ground, because also I teach a high level of mathematics. And if it affects my job performance, and I take my job actually seriously in terms of making sure people get a quality education, I know, rare. I don't want that to happen. So I was just really tired, man. I couldn't focus. I wasn't working out. It was bad. So thank you guys for understanding. If you think it's me being lazy, fuck you. I love you. With that being said, we'll be back here later today, 4 p.m. for Dark Maga. It's on Rumble Premium only, so you have to be a member, but Rumble's a great platform. It's better than YouTube, trust me. As somebody who's worked with YouTube for 5 years, screw them. And we will be back here today. So pray for this country, read your Bible, read some scripture, take some time away from politics for the love of baby Jesus, go touch grass, watch some comedy, I don't know, and enjoy your day. We'll be back here later. Appreciate you.